Aside from the typical, how's the market going? The second most asked question last month was, hey, has anyone from the fires called you about relocating? It's a great question, but a much more complex answer. So today, I'm going to quickly break down these relocation factors and talk about its effect on our exploding luxury market. And of course, cover the normal metrics. So stay tuned as I break this all down for you. Let's have a property tour, shall we? And stock market just crashed. Deuces. Okay, before we get into the complexity of factors that are affecting homeowners before they can relocate to Las Vegas, and before we have a mind-blowing conversation about our luxury market, let's first check in on last month's sales. Now, if data bores you, I made chapters so you can skip right to the juicy stuff. Now, last month we sold 1,357 homes. While this was 31% below the historical average, this was a 7% improvement over last January. So great to see sales making a comeback. Next up, let's see what effect this had on median home values. As you can see on the screen now, we ended last month with a median price of $480,000. Not only was this a $10,000 increase over December, but this puts us 9% over the median price the same time last year. So that's very impressive. Since we've broken down the demand side of the equation, now let's check out the supply side, or inventory, if you will. We ended last month with just under 5,200 homes on the market for a 2.5% increase. This translates to just over a 3-month supply of homes, which defines it as a seller's market. But beyond statistics, I will say it's more of a balanced market than the numbers reflect. Some neighborhoods are selling well, while many others are basically parking lots out there. So the real truth here is very nuanced. This greatly depends on price, location, and product. Okay, finally, let's check out my proprietary metric, housing absorption by price range. As I alluded to moments ago, the seller of a $3 million home is likely to have a much different experience than, say, the seller of a $300,000 home. Now, the higher the percentage, the more competitive that market is. So let's see how this all breaks down. First up is the bulk of our market, homes priced between $250,000 to $500,000. We increased from 28% all the way up to 33%. So basically, 1 out of 3 homes in this price range are already under contract. Next, we have $500,000 to $750,000. This increased from 26% to 29%. Now we have $750,000 to $1 million. This segment only saw a 2% increase from 23% to 25%. But now let's talk luxury. $1 million to $1.5 million. This took a large leap from 17% to 21%. And finally, we have the ultra luxury market of homes priced over $3 million. This increased from 13% to 15%. Simply put, less than 1/3 of homes on the market are under contract now. 3 years ago, it was the opposite. 2/3 of homes were under contract. Now, one other takeaway here was the fact that there are 300 more homes currently under contract than last month. So, in typical fashion, expect sales to be around 1,600 this month. All right, now that we got the math lesson out of the way, let's talk fire and luxury market for a moment. And here's a sneak peek. This year, I'm going to be talking much more about the luxury market. So stay tuned for a really exciting project I've been working on that it'll debut next month. But back now, let's get back to the fires. With the exception of the uber wealthy that live in rarefied air, most California residents affected by the fires are going to require the next 3 to 6 months to figure out what their options even are. So let's take the Pacific Palisades. Over 15% of homeowners are relying on the California FAIR plan for their insurance policy. Well, the maximum coverage under that plan is only $3 million. According to Realtor.com, the median sold price in Pacific Palisades is actually $4.2 million. So maybe you're covered, maybe you're not. But now here's where things get a little sticky. Let's forget about California politics, permitting, and red tape. Let's just approach this from a common sense perspective. First, you have entire cities that need to be rebuilt. If you live in the Palisades, that's a tremendous amount of work just for architects to design. So what's the backlog just for the design phase? Not to mention what kind of building standards are going to be required moving forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Then, of course, you have the compound fracture with regards to the construction phase. Rebuilding two entire cities as well as part of Malibu requires a tremendous amount of construction labor. And well, elephant in the room here, there's a lot of undocumented labor in the construction industry. So deporting that labor force is only going to create increased pricing due to labor shortages. So just because your 70-year-old home was worth $5 million, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be able to rebuild it for that replacement cost. It also doesn't mean that your insurance carrier will compensate you for it either way. So over the next 3 to 6 months, homeowners will have to really decide whether it's worth rebuilding or just simply sell the land to a developer and let them deal with the problem. Now, some will stay in California. Some will see this as the impetus to move to places like here in Las Vegas. In the last 5 years alone, 158,000 people have relocated from California to Nevada, with Los Angeles topping the list. This makes up 43% of all new residents to the state here. So whether it's politics, a favorable tax climate, or more affordable living, it does make sense that recent events could spike another exodus over this next year. Now, speaking of affordability, let's talk luxury. According to Zonda, Las Vegas just beat out Los Angeles and Boston in the rankings for 8th hottest market for luxury homebuyers. Our high-income job market has actually grown 8% since 2019. Now, some recent data is really backing this up. Now, look at this chart from Equity Title. Luxury sales of over $1 million was by far the highest ever in December. Keep in mind that sales overall were down about 40%. Yet, we crushed the record for luxury sales at the same time. Even last month was only off by 4 homes compared to 2022, right before rates started increasing. The market was absolutely on fire back then, yet we're still selling just as many. Now, look at the ultra luxury market. It's not even close. Until 5 years ago, a $3 million home typically took a year to sell, simply because there weren't many buyers for these homes. From 2015 to 2020, we only sold between 1 to 3 of these homes a month in January. Last month, we sold 20 homes over $3 million. 20. Let me tell you, this is only the beginning of what's to come here in Las Vegas. Well, that wraps up this month's update. Again, I am so excited to share with you what's coming next month. So please like this video and be sure to subscribe. But until then, enjoy some property tours and of course, deuces.